Welcome to another episode of the BCRC show. I am your host, Clint Chappell, and wow, it's been a minute since I've been on here, guys. Super busy with work right now, which is a really good thing. I'm just trying to make time for all this, and I'm happy that today we're actually live. I would like to apologize to everybody because last week we tried to go live and it just wouldn't work. I tried as hard as I could. I couldn't get it going live, guys. So I apologize to Mr. John Brink and his team there for putting up with it. We are trying to reschedule John right now as we speak. It's just with my work schedule, as you guys know, we're all volunteers. We're trying to balance everything properly. So I promise you, we will be bringing you John Brink at some point. We want to thank all the first responders again, guys, here who are helping us deal with COVID. Obviously, we've seen a big spike here recently in numbers, guys, and we really want to try to make sure we're following the rules, wearing the masks where we're supposed to be wearing masks, washing our hands, social distancing. Let's just make sure we're really trying to follow the rules, guys, because we would like to get rid of this and we would like to see people back to normal lives here. I think that's a really important thing. Again, thank you for all the support here over the last month too. You guys haven't seen very much of us recently. I promise you that's going to change. I know we haven't dropped the podcast in a while or anything. Just life gets busy. So, in saying all that, I would like to welcome our guest, the MLA for Prince George Mackenzie, Mr. Mike Morris. How's it going today, sir?
Excellent. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, I'm honestly honored to be talking to you today, sir. It's lots of fun when we get political guests on, and I can't wait to get started here today. So thank you very much for all the support that you've given the BCRC. It means the world to us. So thank you, sir.
Great. And Mike is good.
Okay, sounds good, Mike. All right. So my first question here, your riding seemed to play a lead role in the success of the BC Natural Resource Forum that's held annually here every January, I believe. Can you tell us how how the forum came about and what type of role you played in the forum?
Yeah, no, it's that started in 2002 with Pat Bell when he was my predecessor MLA, and it was something that he envisioned and brought together to showcase a little bit about the resource sector in Prince George. And when I got elected in 2013, I wanted to take it to the next level, and I wanted to not only showcase what we had here in Prince George, but I wanted to turn this into a provincial or even a national or international event. And I looked at what we had, and we ended up hiring a company to help us with the logistics of putting that size of an event on. I wanted to go from 200-300 people to 1,000 or 1,200 people and or more if we could. So we did that, and my office worked on it. It was a quite a major project to identify who our speakers would be. We identified what our theme would be, and set the schedule and whatnot up, and it was lots of fun. And the only thing that changed it was in 2017 the election, and 2018 the NDP were in power, and the organization looking after the logistics decided they were probably best if they took it on themselves to keep politics out of the situation itself.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a really cool event that you guys hold there. I mean, it's lots of fun, and I know I went to it this year, so it was my actually first time attending it when it came around there. So that was lots of fun. I can't wait till COVID is in the back burner and we're allowed to do some of these events again. That's always a staple of Prince George.
No,
So.
no, for sure. The comments I had, talking to a lot of the CEOs from international corporations that would attend, the common response I got from many of them, not just one or two, but many of them, was that was probably one of the best networking events in North America that they attended, which I was astounded, but very pleased at the same time.
Yeah, it was really neat. I mean, it really helped us with networking. I know with the company I work for. So it was those events are really cool, and I think you guys did an excellent job with it. So again, guys, if you guys have any questions for Mike here, please leave them in the comment section. Mike's on here for a little bit with us, answering your questions, answering my questions, and so make sure you guys answer or ask any questions. Again, follow us on Instagram at the BCRC on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter, BC_resources on Twitter, also on LinkedIn, Facebook, anywhere that social media is. Just make sure you guys are following us, share a post. Also, visit the shop, buy some t-shirts. We're going to have a cool little t-shirt thing coming up here that we're going to do a post on. I know one of our members, Dan Ray, has been working really hard on getting this post out, so it's going to be really cool. Also, speaking of Dan, make sure you read his blog. He has a lot of cool opinions, and he loves to hear people comment, and he loves to talk about BC resources and how they should make BC jobs. So one thing here I want to bring up, Mike, is the widespread beetle problem that we have in British Columbia. With the outbreaks that we've had recently, and there's some salvage logging going on. Being a forest baby myself, obviously, like I've said almost on everyone, the success in my life is brought to me from the forest industry, and it's such a cornerstone of British Columbia. What do you think forestry is going to look like in the years ahead? Like, what's it going to look like in 5 years from now?
Well, that's a good question. The beetle has fundamentally changed how we look at forestry in the province here. It was 1945 that BC adopted the sustainable yield forest strategy, where they envisioned that we would have an endless supply of fiber in BC with 100-year cycles, 120-year cycles up here in the northern interior, and shorter cycles down on the coast. And that's the way we went. And then with the implementation of the pulp industry in the 60s, mid 60s, is when we started. Up until that time, it was select logging. They would only take logs that were 12 inches plus in diameter at rest height. And then the pulp industry started up, we had 9 pulp mills built in the interior here back in the mid 60s. And a lot of the fiber that was left over from saw logs went into that. And we started planting the identified lodgepole pine about that time as being a fast-growing tree. So we planted all our clear cuts were replanted with lodgepole pine in the 70s and the 80s. And then that damn pine beetle came in the late 1990s and pretty much wiped out all of the stuff that we'd planted in the 70s and 80s and 90s. For 30 years, we lost a lot of growth. And I know, my trap line is north of Prince George here, and we lost a lot of that. So we recovered, and there was a lot of salvage logging going on and massive clear cuts as a result of that, because we had spruce, particularly here in the central interior, the spruce capital of the world, as it was once called. And then came along this damn spruce beetle, and we've had over 1 million hectares of spruce killed in the Omanican region, which is a lot of my riding. And that was our midterm timber supply. So that's going to send all of the forest licensees and the companies back to the drawing board to envision how they're going to look at doing business in the future. I think we have no choice, or the companies will have no choice but to rationalize by shutting some of these bigger mills down, downsizing their current mills. We have mills now that can consume 2 million cubic meters worth of wood in a year, which is a lot of wood. And when you look at the diameter of the wood, years ago, a tree would hold sometimes 4, 5, 6 cubic meters of wood. Now the average was around maybe a meter or less. In 5 years' time, it's going to be probably taking 7 or 8 trees to make a meter of wood. So the costs are going to go up because you handle all this wood, more stems. And these CEOs and these companies are scratching their heads right now trying to figure out how to go about business. We also have to understand that there's other values on the land that have to be taken into consideration at the same time. So how do we accommodate for the wildlife habitat and the other biodiversity issues that are on the land? So I think we're going to see a significantly downsized forest sector moving forward, probably within the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, in saying all that, though, I think that's going to create some jobs for people when it comes to constructing some of these places. I mean, because you're going to have to change the way the wood flows through the system. You're going to have to change the overall, I already said, but the flow of the wood. So you're going to have to change the sawmill designs, I think, a little bit. So I think there'll be jobs created in the construction phase of some of these sawmills completely gutting themselves and resetting. I think that's going to create lots of work. I know it's going to create work for us if it comes to that, and other companies too. I mean, a lot of these mills are huge, and if they are gonna have to go that route, it's going to create jobs for northern BC and British Columbia.
Oh, it will. We have talent here. We have talent in BC that we export to other parts of the world. Canfor, most of Canfor's operations is now in the States and in Sweden, and a lot of the technology that Canfor and West Fraser and Interfor and all these other companies have spent millions of dollars developing are now being exported to other areas of the province. Now they're going to have to show lead in developing newer mills, smaller mills that can accommodate the smaller wood that we have and utilize that wood to the best extent possible. So innovation is going to lead the charge, and I'm sure the big licensees that we have in BC right now will probably lead the charge on that.
I want to kind of jump on something you just said there. 100% true. Our talents here in British Columbia are used all over the world. I mean, when the big companies were looking at expanding in the States, it was right here in Prince George and in Vanderhoof that companies were leading the charge to go down there to show these guys how to build these mills, how to run these mills properly. I mean, our forestry here specifically in Prince George is top notch in the whole entire world. You got companies, I don't like naming companies, are in mine, Miltron, but you got companies here all over Prince George that have been built here and have succeeded all over the world because of what they've learned and how they've perfected the forest industry here in British Columbia.
No, you're right. You know, and look at logging. Look at the kinds of equipment that we use in logging right now. We're using 9-axle trucks on the highway for logging. That you know, this is the first. And you know, I even heard of 10-axle trucks out there somewhere. So it has, but that is all going to change. We're going to have smaller wood, smaller capacities, and so everything will have to be adjusted to meet that demand in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Again, guys, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I see some people watching this. It only takes one question. Mike's not scared to answer questions. I know that he does that for a living. So let's ask him some questions here, guys, and let's get the questions flowing. Obviously, Mike, you've heard in the past of what's been 18 months, something like that, with this certain gas treatment plant that might be coming to Prince George and the West Coast oil fins. That must excite you, because I know it excites the hell out of me. Diversification for the province, such a huge project. And one thing I always say on here is I hope people realize this isn't just a big deal for Prince George. It's not just a big deal for the area. It's a big deal for the province and Canada, that we can show here in BC that BC is open for business. We can do this safely, environmentally friendly, and we can really create jobs here in British Columbia using a BC resource.
Oh, for sure we can. You know, British Columbia is well placed in Canada, North America, quite frankly, with the diversification of resources that we have, the availability of the natural resources that we have here in BC. So when one commodity is down, another one will come up, and West Coast Oil Funds, you know, name the company, but we don't have a petrochemical industry in British Columbia. We have the richest natural gas deposits in Northeast BC, Dawson Creek, Port St. John area, in the world. And you know, right now we're just burning all that stuff up. We're shipping our natural gas to the customers, and it's being burned up. It's being shipped across to China and whatnot. Why not take those liquids out here in British Columbia and turn it into the products that are being used internationally, worldwide, in just about every aspect of society that we have? You know, you look at a modern Boeing aircraft, 50% of the material in the fuselage are polymers that are made from the liquids from natural gas and oil products as well. So I think we have to have a close look at this and figure out, you know, BC has some of the highest environmental standards in the world. And I think we can build a plant that will exceed all the expectations of the environmentalists internationally, and do it in a safe manner and produce some of the best products in the world. You know, when we look at the existing pipeline, and I think this current project is looking at taking the liquids out of the existing line and turning a pretty good profit on it, and turning into a very viable business. But we've got the Coastal GasLink project that's running through to LNG Canada in Kitimat. That's a 48-inch diameter pipe. It's three times the size of the pipe that we have in the ground right now. Think of the liquids that might be in that line, and the product that we can produce out of that, with polyethylene and polypropylene and all of the other liquid products and the plastics that are derived from that. You know, people hear plastics and they talk about, you know, the single-use plastic bags and bottles and whatnot, but I'm talking about your vehicles. You look at a Tesla electrical car and the amount of plastic that is in that vehicle, the amount of plastic that goes into our electronics and our computers and
Our cell phones,
our cell phones.
everything. This camera that's filming me right now, this TV I have ahead of me, everything has plastic in
You
it.
bet you can't flush the toilet without using plastic.
No, yeah, 100%.
So
No, it's true.
it's a fact of life, and we can probably do it better than anywhere else in the world. So let's do it, and at the same time, let's put everybody back to work. Let's create opportunities for everybody in British Columbia and across Canada.
Yeah, and the West Coast Oilfins project is a project here that we're advocating for, that we like. We've done our research on it. We believe in the project. We believe in everything that project's going to bring to the area. Ken James and his team, the team he's assembled, has been phenomenal to read about their progress and how that project is looking. We can't wait to see that get into the EAO phase and start participating more and helping people learn about the project and learn the benefits about how resource money is spent here in BC, where it's not just in Prince George. My resource money goes all the way to Vancouver. For God's sakes, it goes to Seattle because the Seahawks are playing or whatever. I mean, our money is really spent here on the whole West Coast. Let's keep going and then letting the good word out about this project. So I really think it's a game changer. I think it changes the way that even with some of the wood products that we can produce out of it. I think it's a game changer.
Oh, no, it is for sure. I have a lot of constituents have called in concerned about having that kind of an industry here in the area. But, rest assured, and I keep telling them that we're only in the very initial stages of creating this industry. And they will have an opportunity to listen to Ken James in a public forum or listen to the scientists or talk to anybody that is out there that is an expert on the topic to try and alleviate their fears when it comes to the kinds of emissions that come from this plant and the harmful effects that it may have on the environment at the end of the day. Like I said, BC has the highest standards in the world. I think we can do it better than anybody else and hopefully mitigate their fears out there. So I think this is a real plus for Prince George, for British Columbia, and for Canada.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Hey, so I'm going to go to a quick email question here. How does the average person get their voice heard from politicians regarding natural resource sector?
Yeah, no, good question. So I can say, come in and see me, or go in and talk to your local politician. It's interesting. I never imagined that I would be a politician in my life. When I got asked in 2013 to run, and I said yes, not really knowing what I would get into, but I represent about 55,000 people in the riding of Prince George Mackenzie. And anybody who wants to contribute their voice to whatever is going on in Prince George Mackenzie can come in and see me or call me up or send me a message anytime they want. And I'll listen to what they have to say. And their argument may be contrary to any position that I've taken or any statement that I may have made, but I will consider their input on all of the discussions I have. And I'm in meetings all the time. I meet with industry, I meet with other government officials, I meet with an abundance of different people. And up in my head, I will have this information, and the decisions I make at the end of the day is based on the feedback I get from constituents, as well as my own experience and all the other wisdom. I hope I've collected wisdom along the years that will form my opinion at the end of the day. And I will make an opinion or make a decision and go through with that. And that's what the democratic process is all about. If people don't like the decision I make and the position I'm taking, then vote me out, and somebody else better come in and do something different. But they do have the chance to come in and talk to me anytime they want, and that goes for any of the MLAs that we have out there.
So let's just pick up on something you just said there. Vote people out. You know what that means to me also too, guys, is if you want to become a BCRC member and you don't like what I'm doing, you don't like what our president's doing, you don't like what our vice president's doing, become a member and have your voice heard within the BCRC. Go to thebcrc.ca, buy a full membership, and when our AGM comes up, like I said, you can vote us out and take our places, and and take the BCRC the way you're going. All your money that gets put into this to this coalition is all spent within the BCRC. It's all trying to promote projects, promote BC resources to make BC jobs. You know, we all are BC resources. We have a really cool video coming out talking about induced jobs that, again, I'm going to keep dropping his name, but Dan Ray, he wrote a really cool video, and I can't wait to debut that. That's going to be lots of fun for everyone to see. So, you know, buy your memberships, buy your hats, buy your t-shirts. If you see me at the farmers market, I'm there every single Saturday with my wife and my two beautiful kids, and my beautiful wife, I should say, my beautiful wife and my two beautiful kids. And we're there every day. You know, we're buying BC resources, and we're cooking with them, we're cleaning with them, we're doing everything with them. So just if you guys see us, you want a sticker or whatever, please let us know. But go buy a membership because it really helps. It really helps the BCRC stay funded. So
yeah, and I just want to add to that too,
yeah.
Clint. You know, I was really pleased when I saw the BCRC formed and come into existence. You got some good players in BCRC right now, and folks that I've spoken to. It's something that's sorely needed here. We need that coalition in the resource sector and the people that support it in order to move things forward, because without that, things just don't get done. So my hat goes off to you and your organization for getting the job done.
Oh, thank you. I just really want to put everyone on there. I know that a lot of people see me here doing the shows and the podcast and everything, but it's a whole team. And it really takes, you know, there's 15 of us and we all pull our weight. We all have our things that we do. And I can't stress enough how much of a team and how much of a coming of age thing this is for myself. And I'm just privileged and honored to honestly be able to work with everyone in the BCRC and talking to all the cool people that I've been allowed to talk to that I never thought I'd be talking to you, Mike. I never thought I'd be talking to Ken, James. I am very happy and honored to be on almost the pseudo face a little bit here right now. It's a beautiful face, as you can tell, but but no, I am honored to be a part of this, and thank you for the kind words. So one question here that I have for you before we start turning over more to the questions that are coming in online here. What other resource opportunities do you see for this region of the province? Like, I know like we got mines might possibly be coming up, but you know, a guy of your stature, you must hear a lot. So.
Oh, you know, well, mining, you mentioned, we have an endless opportunities with mining. You know, when you look at that corridor between the Coast Range and the Rocky Mountains heading up northeast of or northwest of Prince George here, we have some of the richest gold deposits in the world along that corridor. And so, you know, gold comes copper, comes moly, comes a number of other minerals that are in the ground there. But the other thing that we have here that, and I know of a few deposits around, rare earth minerals that are highly sought after by, you know, governments around the world. I know China's been really interested in some of the products we've had here, as the US has. And so there's competition there. And I know 2 or 3 deposits around here that could turn into some very viable mines in the future. And who knows, you know, we don't know what kind of technology is going to be developed as a result of a petrochemical industry, whether we get an aerospace center here in the interior of the province, and technology just explodes all the time. So that's one of the areas. The other thing that I would like to spend some more time looking at is, you know, the BCR extension, Dease Lake extension, whatever you want to call it. You know, the provincial government back in the 60s and up until about 1976 spent the equivalent of about $2.5 billion developing a railway into the Yukon. And the engineering work was done all the way to Dease Lake. The grade was done and whatnot, and the survey work has been done to Watson Lake, Lower Post, Watson Lake, perhaps. And so, you know, I think we should have a look at that. And perhaps throw, you know, I talked to an engineering company, I gave them all the details and whatnot. It's probably going to cost us $800 million to $1 billion to bring that railway up to the highest industrial standards in North America between Prince George and the Yukon. And I've talked to the senior people of the senator in Alaska and other folks, and they would love to see the lower 48 connected to Alaska. 350 million people living in the United States, people wanting to go to Alaska. I think our tourism sector would flourish as a result of that. I think our mining sector would flourish. I think our forest sector would flourish as a result of that. And who knows what other opportunities we might have in shipping goods back and forth through to Alaska. We could open up a heck of a lot more countries. So we have opportunities here that we haven't even thought of yet coming down the pike.
I think that that Dease Lake railroad that you're talking about there, that's really neat. That's you could ship the rail could ship all from Prince George right up to the Yukon. I mean, that's big news. I look forward to hearing more about that in the future, because I think that's a really cool potential project, not only for BC but also the rail and the transport that could come out of that. We can get some of our lumber better, easier access up to the Yukon, ship our minerals and everything for mining and everything. I think that's a really neat project. I really hope that comes to fruition. That sounds
Well,
really
it's something that we definitely have to spend some more time on. And the other part, we talk about natural gas and the LNG Canada in Kitimat, and hopefully the other Kitimat LNG project will go ahead as well. But we have opportunities here in Prince George to build a liquefied natural gas plant and start shipping the liquefied natural gas into the Yukon, into the Arctic, into Alaska as a fuel source. It's the cost for these diesel run generators would drop significantly if they were run on liquefied natural gas. So the opportunities there would there's significant savings for industry in the Yukon and Alaska, money for British Columbia. I read a study recently. In fact, I read the 1,500-page Royal Commission report on the BCR. It's actually not bad reading, for guys like me that are interested in that stuff. But there was also a report written by the University of Alaska from 2019, a very recent report that indicated, they're looking at different routes. They never talked about the Dease Lake one. There was a Calgary outfit that was working with them, and they were looking more at a route from Fort McMurray across the top of BC. They call it the left coast of BC, that they don't want to, things are so uncertain in British Columbia, they don't want any part of it. Yeah. But I think that by building through British Columbia, I think is the work's already done. But it will create 35,000 permanent jobs in British Columbia just by doing that. So it's something I'm going to take a very serious look at over the next little while, and just see if I can convince colleagues and anybody else to put a microscope on it and maybe get her done.
Awesome. Let's get her done, in the famous words of the comedian I'm now blanking on.
Yeah.
I got a question here from a person that's watching. With COVID, a lot of projects have been deferred. What are your thoughts moving forward?
Yeah, COVID is put a pause on everything around the world, but it's not going to last forever. So I think government should be aggressively pursuing an economic recovery plan that includes the resource sector, that includes everything. We should be investing heavily in major infrastructure projects that is going to multiply the economic benefits in British Columbia and Canada down the road here. This is the time to do it, to do the planning. Once everybody's back up and working again, hopefully they will benefit from the plans that are being undertaken and put into effect today. COVID may last, through definitely this year and into next year. Who knows? There's some good progress on vaccines, but even that won't really end it. But at the end of the day, this is the time to make those comprehensive plans and develop those strategies to get the job done. So when the day comes when we can lift the curtain on COVID, we can put everybody back to work within very short order.
Oh, I 100% agree with you. Right now, I always relate everything to sports because I'm a sports fanatic. But when a team isn't doing very well and they have they're in a down season, that's when you start planning for the future and you start looking to the future. Right now, we're just in we're in our sports rebuilding phase right now. So we got to be looking to the future and be looking to invest and to start to restart the economy and go forward with these new cool industrial plants. I have a question here from JD. Why not set processes and procedures to protect those who make all these opportunities come to fruition?
So I'm not really sure. So is he talking about protecting the proponents?
Yeah, let me see here. So why not set processes and procedures to protect those who make all these opportunities come to fruition?
Yeah, so I guess basically all I can say is that we're kind of top heavy with process right now. That the government's brought to bear in the last little while, but there are protections in place already. I think it's process that bogs everybody down at the end of the day, and there's organizations that have no skin in the game that can stall things, and that's where we have to have a close look at how we can ensure that these, an individual coming forward that has no skin in the games can stop a project and take it to court, even though he or she may not have any skin in the game or any money. We have to figure out some way to keep that from happening, and there are ways to do that. But I think it's going to take some strong leadership and government to get that done. The playing field has become a little bit murky in the last couple of years with the tack that this current government has taken. Nobody knows where the goalposts are anymore, and we have to define those goalposts so that a proponent can come in, tell us what he wants to do, follow through the law, follow through the environmental process, and do everything that he's supposed to do. But let's get her done.
Yeah, no, I agree. I see the questions are kind of drying up here right now, so I got one of my own. Let's say I'm a 30-year-old person here that wants to get involved in politics. How would someone go about doing that?
Yeah, no, good question. And we're always looking for volunteers to help out. Religion and politics and all those kinds of things. So a lot of people just don't want to disclose their political leanings and whatnot. But, and I was one of them. I had to leave a nonpartisan life when I was in the RCMP, but we're always looking for volunteers to help out. And if we have a volunteer that is definitely interested in a career in politics, we'll exploit the hell out of them at the end of the day. We will get them involved in a whole bunch of, a myriad of different activities, particularly during election time, get their face out there, get to be known in the public. And once you're known in the public and once you understand how some of these things work, it doesn't take long. I'm always looking, and I know my colleagues are too. I always look for grassroots input, and I'm looking for, I'm in my late 60s. I got gray hair, and so maybe it's turning white. But I'm looking for.
It's growing on my beard right now. That's
Yeah.
where I'm getting it.
So I have met a number of young, enthusiastic folks that are in their late 20s, early 30s that give me great comfort to know that I will be in good hands, when I'm 80, 90 years old. Hopefully I'm going to be around that long, because we have some good leaders coming up, and and I see you as one of them. But there's a number of folks out there that will make great leaders here. Don't be afraid to pop into my office and say, I wouldn't mind helping out.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say thank you to Jacqueline. She's been a big supporter of ours. She's commenting on some of the video here right now. So thank you, Jacqueline. We see you out there. Thank you very much for all your support. She says that she would like to become a volunteer. She said, tell Mike that. So I have told you that Jacqueline wants to become a volunteer. You're going to say, well, stop in the office. So Jacqueline, you have your marching orders. Go in and to the office and see what you can do to help. Another question here, actually, with projects in the EAO process. With projects, EAO process has to be followed, but we need projects to move forward. So pretty much what this guy's asking here is how can we get the EAO process faster? Do you think it needs to be faster?
Yeah, no, I think it does. I think we need to have a serious look at that. Again, I think over the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a lot of process added into the EAO process. And, there's a lot of duplications with the federal work. I think one of the best things we can do is get rid of the duplication that's out there, so that anybody that wants to build a sawmill, put a mine in, develop a petrochemical industry, all falls under the same statute and all falls under the same process. So we don't have all these different offices that somebody has to go through at the end of the day. That would be one of the things that I would be looking at.
Thank you from person here in the audience. Thank you, Mike, for all your hard work to help build the North. So people are thanking you. I really, Mike, I think that's all the questions that we have on here. So before we leave here, I just want to tell everyone again, thank you for all your support. It means the world to us. I can't thank you guys enough for these past 6, 7 months, whatever it's been that you've allowed me to talk to you guys, and that you've allowed the BCRC to help bring the voice to some of the unheard people here in British Columbia. I think it's a really important thing that we're doing, and we continue to grow and continue to look forward to new ways to help everybody. So again, we're going to be dropping a video here at some point. I'm not too sure when, but we're not going to announce it. We're just going to drop it. It's about induced jobs. If you guys see it, share the hell out of it, because we want everyone to realize, how these jobs are affected all over the province and really all over the world when it comes to BC resources. And another thing that we're really trying to push hard to, you guys, is that you hear me say it on the show every week. I just really want to make sure that everyone realizes that we really believe that BC resources should make BC jobs, and also that we all are BC resources. We are BC resources. If you're sitting down with your kids at dinner and the spaghetti's flying like it is at my house, because I got 2 young daughters and I'm not the cleanest eater myself, but we are a BC resource. That family is a BC resource, and I really want people to take that home and think about what that means to you. When you go to a lake and you go fishing, when you go hunting, when you go to a Cougars game, when you go to anything, we all are spending our money in BC, and we all are BC resources. It's something I'm very passionate about, and you're going to see a lot more of that in the future from us. So, Mike, you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to get across?
No, I appreciate coming on the show here, and just a word to the public out there: support BC Resources. That is the future of British Columbia. It provides the opportunity for every single British Columbian out there.
Awesome. So for the MLA of Prince George Mackenzie, Mike Morris, my name is Clint Chappell, and this has been the BCRC Show. Have a great night.